This is our 100% critical hit chance Blood Mage character. Many of you have asked that this build is so expensive because of the Temporalis armor. In this video, I want to use a +4 difficulty BreachStone fight to show how this build works without Temporalis. This is the same build, but we just take our Temporalis off and put on a chest that is about probably around 10 Exile. Very cheap. Some energy shield, some life, some resistances. This is a +4 difficulty BreachStone and see how this works. Put the stone in and let's go. We just manually cast the spark in this case as our triggering mechanism. Doing well so far. We can blink still once in a while. Instead of zoom as we saw when the Temporalis was on in the previous video, we're doing pretty fine. The damage is still there, the clear seems is there, just our movement speed is kind of limited without Temporalis. While the clear and damage should be still there. We'll see how this performs on the boss very soon. Just manually cast the spark and blink once in a while. The whole screen seems like it's covering by the sparks. We have a 100% critical hit chance. So we are triggering the Great Lightning Bolt pretty much all the time. These mobs are pretty fine. No matter how many there are, we get them all. For the boss, +4 difficulty, I have the Frost Wall and the Spell Cascade just in case we need more damage. And for clearing, I basically put Spark and Conduction instead of Frost Wall and Spell Cascade because this works better on my graphic card. I only have a 3060 graphic card. If you have a better graphic card, welcome to try that. Our plan is to try the spark first. If this doesn't work well, we can put on our Frost Wall and Spell Cascade and see how that works. So let's go. +4 difficulty, Breach Boss. I think we can do Eye of Winter, which may trigger more lightning bolts. Okay, let's see. Okay. Maybe I can't say anything. Okay, dealt 4 million damage. Yeah, it's a little bit on the downside of the sense. Maybe let's put on Frost Wall and the Spell Cascade and see how this works. Oh, where's the boss? We still got him. Okay. Not bad. This is a +4 difficulty Breach Boss. In the middle, we basically swap out the Spark and then use the Frost Wall, helped a little bit. This works well. For the general mapping and the bosses in the mapping, the Spark should be good enough. If we are not fighting the Uber boss, we don't really need to put this on. I mean, put the Frost Wall on. However, if your graphic card can really handle this, I mean, definitely use this one. It has higher damage. Because our Great Lightning Bolt will kill our own Frost Wall and make the overkill damage, which is boosted by our boots. 30% more overkill damage. So that's how this works. But in general, for me, I think Sparks works pretty well. It gives me more AoE range. Instead of Frost Wall and Spell Cascade, we use Spark and Conduction. This will give us a little bit more AoE when we are mapping, and I feel that damage is good enough for mapping. On the gear wise, besides not using the Temporalis, which I took it off here for demonstration, there shouldn't be a lot of changes. I will leave all the planner linked in the description for you to check the details. On the skill setup, no change, I believe. The most critical one is the Great Lightning Bolt, supported by concentrated effect considered casting, spell echo, and ingenuity. On the blink, supported by unbreakable, wind wave, arcane tempo, and second wind. Green fist, cast on critical. For mapping, I use spark and conduction. If your graphic card is really good, you can basically put Frost Wall here and also Spell Cascade here. Supported by Impetus, Energy Retention, and Inspiration is optional. Cast on Dodge, supported by Spark, Acceleration, Chain, and another Spark. Soul of Offering is pretty optional. I don't really use this because our damage is basically good enough. If winter is optional, put whatever works for you. Manually cast the spark, supported by wild shards, fork, and unleash. If you can afford Temporalis, definitely use it, but you can just find anything that you want here. I found a pretty cheap one here. You can find a more fancier armor piece as well. The only other thing that can be expensive is the wand. But here, you don't need double gain damage as actual cold or lightning damage. The best one you can just look for, one actual damage of lightning, some spell damage, plus 4 level of all lightning spell skills should be good enough. And look for some critical hit chance as much as possible. If you cannot afford critical hit chance, just look for more actual damage as cold or as fire and more spell damage. Plus 4 should be fine, plus 5 is even better. Other gear are pretty inexpensive. Ingenuity utility belt is not really necessary, just find one that can fill all the resistance gaps. Perhaps you can also find life and also mana on this belt. And that's about it. This mana flask is also optional. It's just functioning as a panic button, but we don't really need this.